All praises to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a lesson on how I'm starting to see a lot of people from among the children of Israel start to talk in a proud way when it comes to money, man, right? They're starting to talk in a proud way when it comes to money and finances. And I personally cannot understand why. Because among Jacob, what's considered a lot of money is not considered a lot of money among Esau, right? So you have the whole new trend now in this world with people thinking that they've made it because they're making six figures a year, right? But six figures a year among Esau and among the people that actually really could boast in their wealth, six figures a year is not anything, right? And what made me consider this even more was a post that I saw one of the brothers put up by where they showed that Mark Zuckerberg can spend $1 million a day, right? So that's $365 million a year for 547 years, right? Before he ran out of money. Now, who among the children of Israel can do that? Before you start boasting in money and trying to flex and think about how rich you are, can you do that? Right? Can you do that? Some of you jakes that flex in your money, can you spend £1 million in 1 year? Since you want to boast in being rich, could you spend $1 million in a year and still have money? And before you try and worry about how much money I've got in my bank account, I'll say right now, I'm not rich and I'm not flexing and boasting in money because I don't have it to boast and flex in, for starters, right? That's not where I find my glory, right? And it shouldn't be where any of the children of Israel find theirs, because when it comes to flexing and riches, our nation does not have that luxury. We have that, some of us have that luxury to boast and flex on the poor of our own people. But you don't really see Israelites be able to boast and flex on Edomites, man, with money. Among the Edomites that have money, with money, they can't do that, right? And they don't do it neither. And an Edomite that's got half their finances as them will still get more respect in this world when they go to the same places that you've had to really grind to get into anyway, because it's Esau's world. And all you Jakes know that. So why are you flexing for? Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 23 does say, if Yahweh, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might, let not the rich man glory in his riches. And one of the reasons why a lot of these Jakes don't have a problem selling out, right? All these Diddies and all of that, is because they're selling out with the purpose of being a king among their own people. They don't care about trying to become better than Esau. They don't care about ruling the world in general. They just want to be able to go back to their own people and flex and stunt and become the king of their own people, man. And have the streets or whatever. Or as long as the streets love me, as long as my people love me and all that, they care about that. Being able to rule over the people that have been the most robbed nation on the whole earth. That ain't even really got nothing really. Now, if we're speaking honestly, there are people among the children of Israel, these so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, that are starting to get better off in this world. We are. But as a nation-wise, no, we're not. As a nation, we're still through. Because we don't just own certain things, man. Like, everyone knows that either likes Benjamite food, so-called Caribbean food, or is a Benjamite themselves, right? That some of the time when you try to order dumplings from these types of restaurants, there's always a notification that comes up, or the staff member will tell you, we don't have that. And I'm thinking, how don't you have a product that uses flour and water to make? It doesn't require, and salt, maybe, it's flour and water for the most part, either self-raising flour or plain flour, and you can make a dumpling with that. You know what I mean? Now, most people prefer fried dumplings, or how I would anyway, is with self-raising flour. You know what I mean? But other people might use whatever for one they want to use, but I do self-raising. But they don't have it. They don't have that ingredient. So they'll have a restaurant and all that, but then it's still a flop anyway, for the most part. And this ain't me hating. This is me just pointing out what it is. or if we have a restaurant or something like that among our people, then people will think, oh, that's a black restaurant. They won't think, man, that's a restaurant and I want to go there to eat. They'll think, oh, that's a restaurant that these people own and I'm not gonna go in there. You know what I mean? They don't view our thing as something that, oh, that's for everyone. They don't really do that, man. We don't just have among our people loads of people that just have these things. We don't have whole streets where we own things like that, and it's just normal for it to be like that. Though it's not a shock. It's still a shock in this world when people see us with nice things. It's still a shock if a delivery driver shows up to a nice house in this world, right? And he said one of you Jakes that open a door, they might think you're the cleaner, depending where you are in the world. Especially among you tribe of Issachar, they'll think you're a clean boy. They'll think you're a cleaner. You know what I mean? If they see you mowing the lawn of your nice mansion, they'll think you're the gardener. They ain't gonna think you own the house. So it's a shock for us to have nice things. It's not normal for this world to consider us with having nice things yet. But in the kingdom of heaven, that's how it's always gonna be. People are gonna know that we have the nicest of everything, man. Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 23 again. Thus saith Yahweh, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom. So don't boast in how wise you are and how much knowledge you have. Neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Don't boast in how strong you are. It's good to be strong. I like when your body feels strong versus when your body doesn't feel strong. The feeling of your body feeling strong is way nicer than the feeling of your body feeling sickly. You can barely even walk round the one block. You know what I mean? You could barely even jog. If you had to run to catch a train, that's like gonna come in the next 5 minutes. You can't run there. You know what I mean? Like that don't feel nice. It don't feel nice to have your body in that kind of situation. Whereas when your body feels strong, it feels amazing. But you're not supposed to boast in one because the other one can always be right around the corner. When you're boasting in your body, feeling being strong right around the corner, you don't know if you're going to be smitten with a plague to where you could end up in the spirit world, man. You could end up dead, or where you could end up wishing that you were. And when your body feels weak, your body could be about to go through a phase of going back to receiving its strength, man. So we're not supposed to boast and flex in things like this. Verse 24, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am Yahweh, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith Yahweh. Now, I know how our people's mind thinks, man. So when they hear us talk about stuff like this, right, the first thing they're going to say is, yeah, but maybe you just haven't made enough money to where you want to flex, to where you could flex. That's how our people think. Well, what does the Bible say about that kind of mindset? Does the Bible say that I should want so much money to where I can flex, or does the Bible say that I shouldn't? Proverbs chapter 30, because I know all you Jakes think you're Christians, right? So let's see what the Bible says. Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 7. 2 things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. So it's not to be broke in this world to where you don't have nothing. And it's not to be overly wealthy to where you just are proud for, man. When Jake start, you can tell that Jake's starting to get into some money because you start to see his teeth a lot more. He's always smiling. You know what I mean? You start to see his teeth all the time. And he'll try and be humbly not humble about how much money he's starting to make. Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. And then his teeth are just hanging out like a damn fangs, man. You know what I mean? You can start to see it. You can start to see it. And then because of the way how Jake is about the whole flexing and things, and they want haters, well, then that leads to them overly flaunting their thing to where it's putting covetousness on people. And then the covetousness leads to theft. And because the person with the riches don't want to give up the riches, then that can lead to murder and unaliving and all these kind of things, man. And it's a plague. It ends up being a curse onto you having that riches, which you're not supposed to steal, by the way. So all you stick up people out there, leave people alone with their riches, man. You ain't supposed to steal. If you want something nice, go and get it the honorable way, man. Go get it the honorable way. Don't steal from your own people and don't steal from anyone. If you can't afford something, don't have it, right? And don't even steal. We're not even supposed to steal a train fare, man. We're not even supposed to steal that. If you ain't got the money to get on the train, right? There's no point risking it and then end up having to look stupid, and then the ticket officer gives you the ticket. You know what I mean? Just walk there or something, man. Walk where he was gonna go. And if you can't do that, well, you know what I mean? Just don't go to the place. It's better to do that than steal, man. And Apostle Gabar's got a beautiful story that he's told on many occasions when brothers that didn't have the money at the time, and well, he said when we're way back, this is going way back, from the way how I remember the story, when he would, and he didn't have the money to catch the train, and some of the younger brothers at the time, which would have included him, was being told, don't jump the train fares, man, because that's thief, being a thief, right? Basically, he's breaking the commandments. So he would walk like, he said it, the way how I heard the story, and I remember it, is that he said he would walk 4 hours plus to the camp, and then 4 hours plus back, right? And that's quite deep, because now, what is he doing now on his videos right now, Apostle Gabar? Has he not ignited that same old spirit that he used to have from way back where he used to do the walking in the past? Is he not doing that now, where he's doing the 6 miles, where he says he does the 6 mile walk? So he's redid a similar trait that he already had in the past. It's not even a new thing that he's doing with the walking. It's just something that he really used to do in the past. Which, this isn't me trying to tell anyone what, like, something that they wouldn't know themselves about themselves, but I just thought that that's interesting, man. But anyway, back to this. Verse 9, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is Yahweh? So when you've got too much in this world, you start to get proud, man. But then when you've got nothing in this world, and everyone's laughing at you and mocking you, well, then you're prepared to do some real dirty works to get things. And that's why it's always funny when people, or always stupid, I mean, when people that have got a large portion of wealth for their particular habitat or environment that they live in, trying to stunt on everyone else, because all you're doing is stirring up anger and strife among people that now they're going to be coveting after the things that you have. And if enough people covet, well, then now that's a group of enemies that you are going to have that want to steal from you. So when you have the wealth and you have these things, be humble about having it, because Yahweh gave you that. Be humble about having it. Be humble about it, man. Don't overly be talking too much about it. And I heard one of the brothers say recently that the insult that people give to people, right, proves their ego, right? It proves what they really value in this world. The insult that you give out to people proves what you actually value. So if someone insults somebody about how much money they make, well, that's where their ego lies. If someone insults somebody about how they're weak and they're not strong, that's where their ego lies. If someone insults somebody about how they can't get women or something like that, that's where their ego lies. If someone insults somebody about how unattractive they are, that's where their ego lies. If somebody insults somebody about how they're not popular enough or they're not intelligent enough, that's where their ego lies, right? Whereas if you want to use this word in about where our ego lies, if you can even say it in that way, it's or I'll say in how the scriptures give it, how where our glory lies, it's that we know the Lord. So we insult you people and talk about you people in a negative way because you don't believe in the Lord. You think you do, a lot of you people out there, but you don't. And some of your actions where you boast in your money prove that you don't. It proves that you don't. And where you think that your money is going to somehow make you get salvation, it proves that you don't understand what's going on. Because the money, when you actually understand what the leaders of this world are getting ready to do, that money is going to actually be a snare onto you. Especially if it's in the tens of plus of millions. Because it's going to be hard for you to say, you know what, I don't want that. But then what's going to be required of you to keep it is some dark things, man. Things that if you do them, you're going against the Heavenly Father. The MOTB prophecy that's mentioned in Revelation 13, verse 16 to verse 17. The micro C-hip. This is Jeremiah chapter 9 verse 24. But let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am Yahweh, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith Yahweh. So that's what we're supposed to delight in and glory in. That we understand the Lord. Not that we have got riches. Not that we're strong. Not that we're intelligent. Not those things. Now, I've never met anybody that wants to be poor. Right? I've never met nobody that wants to be poor. And you'll hear people that have got riches, they'll say, oh, money don't make you happy, but they wouldn't want to give up those riches. So nobody on this earth wants to be poor, right? It's just that Yahweh has gave balance on this earth. So some people are poor and some people are rich. Yahweh did that. But that's not something for somebody that's got the riches to try and boast and flex on people, man. It's not. I know that among Jacob, people think it is, but it's not though. And all you Israelites that have got money, you better be humble with that, man. I know you're hopping out of something crazy. You know what I mean? I know you're pulling, you got a nice life and you're hopping out of something crazy. And okay, that's cool, man. Hop out of something crazy. But you better be humble, man. Because Yahweh can make you hop out of an ambulance too. Right? He can do that to any of us. You can go through a phase where you can be slapping out, you could probably slap out 100 push-ups in a row. But then you can also go for a phase where you can't even push out one. You can go for a phase where you can jog 10 miles running at a decent speed, but you could also go for a phase where you couldn't even walk to the corner store, man. Yahweh can humble you easily. Look at what he did to Antiochus Epiphanes in the scriptures. A man that went from having the authority to take down lands and conquer kingdoms to where he was made so sick that he couldn't even stand the smell of his own self. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 6, Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. And that's why the situation that the Hebrew Israelites, the believers of the elect, have found themselves in is where the majority of them, not all, but the majority are not wealthy. Right? The majority are not rich. The majority don't have the things that the world would make, that would make them be respected by the world. And yet they're going to receive the salvation in the end times, man. Even though people don't think that they're going to. And the people that are rich, some of the things that they've did to get those riches, it's going to be revealed and we're going to find them sickening. And it's going to expose that when they was trying to flex about how they have this money and we don't, we're going to find out the other things that they did to have their money. And then it wasn't just off pure raw talent. They was doing some freaky stuff in the background. And then having the nerve to try and boast about it to us. And we've already started to see some of it among our women. They want to boast about how I've got this and I've got that and I'm on this yacht this week and this one that week. And we know they don't own no yacht because them things are expensive. We know it ain't near yacht. You know what I mean? We know that some man somewhere, some invisible man somewhere in the background's paying for this stuff. And they're trying to front like they just got these are their friends and all that. I'm not doing nothing with these men. Yeah, right. We know what y'all are doing. Y'all are doing madness in Dubai. And Dubai wouldn't be the only place in the world where people are doing that kind of stuff. You know it's happening in Miami too. Because that place is bugged out, man. You know that kind of thing goes on in there. Just less talked about. All kind of stuff happen in places like that, man. Anywhere where there's money, there's corruption. Anywhere. Now let me get this scripture. That all you jakes, man, that you've got that money, okay, have it, man. You're not an evil person because you've got money. You're an evil person because you're evil. It's not the money that's necessarily made you be wicked. It's your own vile pride that's made you be wicked, man. And that's why the scriptures speak about how not having that much. Now, in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have abundance of wealth. We're going to be flowing in it. That's not going to be a thing that we even talk about like that. It's not going to be a thing money's not going to be a thing that's spoken about in the kingdom of heaven. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 7. For who maketh thee to differ from another? And what hast thou that thou didst not receive? So you're rich because Yahweh made you be. I know you think, but you put the business plans together. But you put your money to this. You put your money to that. No, it's because Yahweh did it. because somebody else out there could have put their money to exactly the same things as what you put yours to, but then Yahweh just crumbled their attempt at doing it and allowed yours to go into fruition. He made something happen in them other people's lives to where they had to remove or it just didn't work for them. But then for other people, it did. The same thing with the whole celebrity world and the whole basketball and sports world. There's people out there that would have had exactly the same amount of talent as Michael Jordan, but they might have got ACL tear before they made it. You know what I mean? They might have got a lower back injury, but they had the same exact talent. There's other people out there that are as talented as Floyd Mayweather that can talk the same, but they might have broke their wrists before they even got to the amateurs. They might have just not liked that person that much and made the next person win. Just voted to make a next person win, and that person got disgruntled and said, "You know what? Forget boxing. I'm not gonna do it no more. I'm done. I'm tired of it. It's too corrupt." And just said, "Forget going to pro. It's dirty in the amateurs. So how much more dirty will it be in the pros then?" And just not even bothering to go. That's out there, man. In the business world, there's people that have got all similar kind of business ideas, but people just for whatever reason might not let them in. Then they not end up in there. And it's too difficult to do it alone because you need large amounts of money and they just get blackballed. For example, you've got this woman out there, Jaguar Wright, and she, if you hear her sing, she had all the same kind of talent as all of these other people that have made it in the singing world. She's got very exactly similar talent, a little bit less than some, a little bit more than others, and exactly the same as a few as well. But she didn't make it to the same level as them because she wasn't prepared to do certain things, man. Now, some people out there say that she's this and say that she's that, and it could be true that she could be like set up and all of that. That could be true. But yet, as far as talent goes, she had the similar amounts of talent or same or a bit less as some of these other people, but never made it as far as them for whatever reason. She's been on tracks with Jay-Z and all kind of things, and she was singing it up on them socks, man. She was on the song Cry with Jay-Z. She's the woman that does the singing in that song, if I'm not mistaken. But I know that I've seen a live version with her singing anyway. And she was singing it up, man. She was singing real nice. That sounded amazing, her singing. Let me go to the description and I'm gonna end the lesson, man, because that money thing, man. When I hear Jake's talking about flexing about money, I really find it quite sickening, man. Because among our people, we're not born in like that. And there's one brother out there that he likes to talk about how, considering all the Jakes that have got money in this world, one brother, one elder, let me say it like that, and he talks about how, considering all the wealth that Jakes have got in this world, they don't even have one tank though. They don't have one tank. They don't have one private jet. They don't have one aircraft carrier. They don't have no real means on a nation-averse nation stage to defend themselves. And yet they're just boasting about money and all that. But them having money, they want money so that they can flex on their people and buy a chain and then go to the nightclub and it be like paid in full or shotters. You know what I mean? And they just got all the women looking at them, and then all the other Jakes are just looking at them. Oh man, I wish I had his life. He's getting all the hoes. And then they just walk out with 2 women on their arm, 1 on each arm, and then maybe 10 more in the background. And then they go into a limo and go back to a hotel. That's what they thinking that life's going to be. That kind of shit. But it can be way more than that though. Instead of them 10 scallywags that you're going to leave with, all of them women could be your wives and have been virgins. How about that? But Jake don't want to think that deep. They don't want to start thinking to those kind of thoughts, because then like it starts to sound way better than what exists now on earth. And they don't want to think about that. Because it's harder to get that, because you have to actually do more than what's necessary for this world, man. More things have to take place to be able to have access to that kind of life. Sirach chapter 11 and verse 25, in the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction. So when we end up going from the position that we're in now, where we're considered a joke, to where we're living it up, we ain't going to remember all these harsh times now. And in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. So when all you Jakes that you've been living it up right now, when you end up in a situation where you're catching hell, you ain't gonna remember all the nice times right now. You ain't gonna remember all the stunting that you was doing, or you're gonna remember it with shame, right? And there's people out, when it comes to I'm gonna say it again, when it comes to the boasting in money, like that's a dangerous game, because like a billionaire can spend 1,000 times more than a millionaire. So if a millionaire buys a particular house with their money, well, a billionaire could have bought that same house, 1,000 of them. You understand? He could buy 1,000 of those, but a trillionaire could buy 1,000 of what the billionaire bought. So where's the flexing? But when it comes to faith, everyone with faith is gonna get salvation and he's gonna get on the chariots, which is the thing that's necessary to be able to not look back on the day of the Lord with shame in your eye and everlasting contempt. Everyone else that doesn't end up making it on them chariots is going to always look back on the day of Yahweh's salvation and the day of the Lord with shame and contempt, because they're going to know that they was one of the people that didn't receive the good of that time. They received the destruction of that time. And in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity, for it is an easy thing unto the Lord in the day of death to reward a man according to his ways. So it's easy for Yahweh to get a person back for all the dirty works that they did to get that money. You think P. Diddy right now, he's remembering all the Diddy bopping that he was doing, and he's and remembering back on all them parties and all the free cuffs in a glorious way, or is he like, man, I should have just eased off on some of them free cuffs, man? You think he ain't thinking that? You think he ain't be like, man, I wish I was just not in prison right now? Or is he thinking, man, if they let me out, I'll just do one more free cuff and then I'll just be good to just go back to the spirit world? No, he'd want his freedom right now. He'd want his freedom, man. Verse 27. The affliction of an hour maketh a man to forget pleasure, and in his end his deed shall be discovered. And that's what's happened to Diddy, right? And it can happen to any of us. Like, it's not hard for Yahweh to show a person for who they are. It's not hard to do that. It's not hard, man. And if Yahweh does it to anybody, they could be embarrassed, man. You know what I mean? They could be embarrassed for that. But the embarrassment could lead to them still getting salvation anyway, if it's not think crazy like sins unto death like what Diddy's did. You know what I mean? And some of the things that a person can do could not even be sins, because there's certain things that's according to this world anyway that are actually sins, right? That people don't have shame for doing them. Like, if a man around his area has slept with every single person's wife around the area, even though that's actually a sin unto death, he's not going to view that him doing that is actually a bad thing. He's going to be like, yo, but I got the flow though. The women love me. I'm just I'm a Gallus. I'm a Casanova out here. He's not going to think I'm actually a demon and all the men around the area should hunt me down and get rid of me. He's not going to think that. He's not going to look at himself like, oh man, you're a piece of trash for doing that. Jake, don't ever think it's a negative thing to lust after other men's women, but you should though. It actually is a negative thing to lust after other men's wives, man. That's actually a bad thing to do that. Verse 28, judge no man blessed before his death, for a man shall be known in his children. Bring not every man into thine house, for the deceitful man have many trains, and you ain't supposed to bring everyone into your house, man. You ain't supposed to do that. Because some people out here, they're demons, man. In fact, the majority of people out here, they're wicked. And they want to see what's going on in your house so that they can try and cast you out of it if they can. So that they can try and cast you out of your abode, man. Anyway, I'm going to end this lesson there. I just thought I'd do a lesson on all you Jakes that have got money. You better stop trying to flex on your own people, man, because that's the only people you can flex on. You can't flex on the other nations, really. The other nations that have got money, because they can do way more with their money than you. And even though you might have a good thing going, your own people would still not be the supplier to you for your company. And I know how Jake thinks, man. They think, oh man, this guy's a hater, man. He just wants to stay broke forever. No, I don't. Why would anyone want to be broke? Why would anybody want to be poor? Telling people to be humble with their money is not hating. It's just the truth. Because if you understand you wasn't always rich yourself, well then you understand that the way how you're thinking about money now, you wasn't thinking that before. And now all of a sudden that you've got the money, now you want to talk about how men that have this amount of money should be able to do this, and men that have this amount of money should be able to do that. But what about when you didn't have that amount of money? Was you saying that things about yourself then? Did you think you was a bum when you didn't have said things? Or did you think that you was all right and you knew you was going to grind and get it one day? What did you think? If you was honestly speaking. But yeah, all you Jakes that have got money, man, enjoy the money or whatever you want to say, yeah? But you better be humble because Yahweh can easily take it away from you. And he's going to make everybody on this earth anyway have to make a financial decision. And I'm going to get the prophecy. Everybody on this earth is going to have to make a financial decision, whether they're rich or poor, right? Whether they want to continue being able to spend their money that they have using this new financial program that's about to be introduced into the world, which is the micro CHIP. Write down the word micro, write down the letter C, the third letter of the English alphabet, and write down the letters HIP, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Micro CHIP, right? And you'll know what I'm talking about. That's going to become the new payment method on the earth. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the charagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And this is what's getting ready to happen. So for all you people flexing and boasting in the money, I recommend you don't do that, because you don't know what the future holds for your finances or for your health going into the next week. You might think you know, but you don't. And just the same way how you was not always rich, you might not stay always having the wealth that you have now. Right? So be humble. Because there's been many men in this world that was more wealthy than you, and they lost theirs. Job was wealthy and he lost all of his wealth, but then he got it given back to him. But he lost it though. And he had things that are more valuable than the things that some of you people have now that make you think you're wealthy. Right? But I'm going to end the lesson there. Don't glory in your wealth. Glory in the Lord, right? Who gave you the wealth in the first place. Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.